It's the Score North Twin Show.
So I wanted to talk to him. I told PS, I'm going to go talk to him. And I went down in the tunnel, and he was very receptive and had a good, quick conversation with him. And I said, is there enough in there where you think, you keep getting outs? Can you go all the way? And he said, I'm riding a good high right now. I'm feeling pretty good. He goes, yeah, I think I can do that. So I said, good, you're going to keep pitching then. So that was it. That was really the extent of it. But sometimes you just want to know. We had our whole bullpen ready to go, but letting Dallas pitch as long as he was going to go was important to I think, all of us.
Okay, yeah, he makes it seem like, I just checked in with Dallas, make sure he had enough gas in the tank to complete the perfect game. In reality, every pitch of that seventh inning, Rocco was like taking a couple steps up on the warning track dirt.
He got him immediately after he gave up. I mean, before he even walked back to the mound after he gave up that double in the seventh.
The ball hadn't landed yet, and he was like, there we go.
Brian Reynolds doubled the right, was hitting the wall surface, and Rocco was like on the mound.
Oh, man. It was great. But all you negative Nancys out there, okay? You Patrick Royces calling Dallas Keuchel meatball, okay?
It was Patrick, not me.
Yeah.
You were pretty negative, too. You were his little sniveling sidekick.
Oh, gotcha. I thought it was hilarious.
Get him.
Funny. Are you kidding me?
But he comes back, and, I mean, if where was 6 perfect innings on your Dallas Keuchel bingo card? Probably nowhere to be found.
Yeah. So I guess if you had now, the one thing that was incredible, I went to the games on Friday and Sunday, and I tweeted this out. I'm not joking. There were 2 names in the Pirates lineup on Friday that I knew.
Yeah. McCutchen was out of the lineup on Friday.
McCutchen was out. Yes. Brian Reynolds and Hayes.
Yeah.
Yes. Though
me too.
I'm not joking. I did not know the rest of the names.
Dude, it was a bunch of like creative players on MLB The Show or something.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
One after another. And they all were looking back sideways at Laz Diaz. Every inning, somebody was like, come on now, guy. It's like, dude, it's a perfect game. Laz Diaz knows it's a perfect game, too, and he's Laz Diaz. So if you're not swinging on some of those close pitches, that's on you, guy. Random Pirates guy.
Laz Diaz and Angel Hernandez were both behind the plate in the big leagues on Sunday. God bless America.
It's the giant FU to the electronic strike zone that's on the horizon.
It really is.
So this is your State of the Twins Monday edition of the Score North Twin Show, where we just want the Twins to win a playoff game at some point for the first time in 20 years. Okay, can we make it happen this year is the question. So we'll go through kind of the state of the standings and where the Twins sit right now. We have a major change in who they would play in the first round as of yesterday, and then we'll go through some categories. But the State of the Twin Show is presented by our friends at Modest Brewing, a beautiful tap room in the North Loop right next to Target Field. You can also find cans in your local liquor stores throughout the metro. I know the liquor store that I go to always has feels like 7 or 8 different cans of Modest depending on the season. But it's just one of the coolest craft breweries in the Twin Cities. Opened in 2016, steps from Target Field and the light rail. It's also the first place we ever did a live recording of the Score North Twin Show back in the summer of Bombas in 2019. So check them out, modestbrewing.com, or just stop in and guzzle a couple pregame drinks here for this stretch run. So, all right, let's start with the overall snapshot, boys. The Twins are 65-60 going into this week. 6 games ahead of the Guardians. It's their biggest division lead of the season, and it's the biggest division lead of any team in the American League.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. The Orioles are 30 games over 500, but they can't get separation from the Rays. The Yankees, by the way, just lost their 8th consecutive game. They are 17 games out of first place in the American League East. I don't know if you saw that.
Bye, Aaron Boone.
Yeah. I mean, it's not all his fault, but he will definitely be available.
Yep.
Twins offense currently ranks 19th in runs per game. Twins defense and pitching ranks 4th in runs allowed per game. So kind of a similar story as we've seen all year long. Baseball Reference gives the Twins a 92% chance to make the playoffs now. Fangraphs gives the Twins a 95% chance to make the playoffs now.
Yeah.
it's a certainty at this point, even though it's only a 6-game lead. I mean, 6 games is a pretty good cushion, but they're treating Cleveland like a sinking ship. So
they could just go home.
Yeah, they're trying to. On the World Series front, the Twins have a 3% chance to win it all, according to Baseball Reference, and a 4% chance to win it all, according to Fangraphs. So if they played the entire postseason 100 times, we would be celebrating 3 or 4 times with a parade. And Declan, who's in charge of the graphic design here on the Score Twin Show, look at a beautiful graphic design job here. A 32 magic number for the Twins. 32 games. Is the magic number? Is it games? It's 32 games, right? Like it's either them or the opponent behind them.
Right. So if you, let's say, regardless, if the Twins win a game, the number goes down by 1. If the
Guardians lose, boom,
it goes down by 2. Yep. So if the Guardians ever lose, basically, whoever the second place team, if they're losing, you will gain a spot in the magic number, no matter what the win or loss for you.
Yeah. So if the playoffs started today, the 3-seed Twins would play the 6-seed Seattle Mariners in a 3-game wild card playoff series. The Blue Jays have moved down. So yeah, the Mariners are now 14 games over 500. At one point, they were like well below 500 in the first couple months of the season. So they are one of the hottest teams in baseball. They're actually 4.5 games ahead of the Twins in the American League standings. They traded at the deadline because they were not in this position a month ago. They traded their lights-out closer, Paul Sewald, to the Diamondbacks. Since then, they've been one of the hottest teams in baseball. And the Diamondbacks are currently out of the playoffs. They're a game out of the playoffs in the National League. It's funny how that works sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you feel about Julio Rodriguez, who's one of the hottest hitters on the planet? They got some pop in that lineup. They have, Luis Castillo at the top of the rotation. They have some good starting pitchers there, too. So how would you feel about Mariners compared to maybe Blue Jays if the playoffs started today, hosting them?
I think the Twins could win a game still. I wouldn't predict it. I wouldn't predict that they will win.
This is breaking.
What?
This is a change. This is a change for Judd.
I think the Twins could. Well, if they do, they don't.
Declan, am I right? Last week he was still on the. There's no way they can win a game, and we fought about.
I thought I've agreed that they can win a game, but
you've agreed on the premise. I will say that's the most optimistic I have heard you about the idea of them going in the playoffs. You were kind of bubbly. You kind of had a little twinkle in your eye.
Well,
it wasn't as sour.
Okay, yeah. I'd like to steer. You know what? Much like an email that I accidentally send to the wrong person, I'd like to recall my
accidental text.
No, why are you recalling it? I'd like to recall
it right now because if the Twins, and this is a big if they do the smart things that they often don't do, they can win a game. If they don't, they probably lose 2 games. But if they play the right people at the right positions and start the right pitchers and have the right bullpen construction, none of which I trust them to do, they can win a game.
You think Dallas Keuchel's the game 1 starter right now after yesterday?
I think Lopez has to start, not Gray. I also think I don't trust these guys. They don't know positionally. They have no clue at times. This Polanco thing, Julian.
We'll get there.
So anyway, if Rocco, if they listen to me, they can win a playoff game. If they don't, and again, this goes back to what I said. It depends on how it looks. Let's
get to the first category here because it's the Byron Buxton thing, but then it kind of trickles down into okay, what do you do? Now you can go into your like positional rant here if you want the Polanco stuff, but the Twins are gearing up for Byron Buxton to play center field in September and maybe October. Yeah. So Doogie floated this. It's funny. Doogie came on the scoop last week and he was like, I'm hearing that the Buxton camp is not thrilled with the way that this rehab is going. And I'm curious to hear tomorrow's scoop session. Is he unhappy? And then he said there's a chance that he might be. You even had kind of sniffed out that like they're doing some things with him that make it seem like he's going to play center field again. Rocco confirmed it, that they would like him to play center field, maybe not every single day, but they'd like that to be an option to free up the DH spot, whatever, right?
Right.
So let's just start there. What do you make of the Twins gearing Byron Buxton up to play center field when he comes back, assuming he's not coming back in August here, the 10 days left in August, sometime in September?
And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, on Unchained last week on like the Thursday, Patrick said this as well. because he said, don't be surprised.
Yeah.
So Pat did. Dukes has been floating this for months because I think the Buxton camp is not happy that he's not being allowed to play out there. I think now they have no choice. I think he has to play. I think if he's going to play, and by the way, I am fine with him not playing too, and with Taylor starting in center, not because his bat is great, but because his glove is good too. And I'm curious to see what Byron Buxton looks out there. He hasn't played out there in forever, and I'm not buying this. My IL stint has gotten me. I feel great now. I'm buying they have no choice. He has to play there if he's going to play. He cannot tie up the DH spot. It makes no sense. If you're facing a right-hander, Julian's my guy. But I mean, that DH spot needs to float. I'm not saying Buxton can never play or be used there. I am saying this is simply common sense. And I think all the stuff about, well, he's feeling great and blah, blah, blah is just outside noise. Like they're trying to create like it's harmony. It's as Dukes likes to say, kumbaya.
Yeah.
But this is, I think, their only choice when you get to the playoffs is if Buxton plays, there's going to have to be outfield play involved there.
Yeah, he's definitely, if he can play the field, then he's available off the bench. Or like Michael Taylor is a great number 9 hitter. He plays solid defense. He runs into some baseballs. I mean, if Buxton's playing the field, that's pretty much what you can expect from Buxton at this point. He's going to play decent defense. He's going to run into a few baseballs. But with Michael A. Taylor, he's been healthy. Like Buxton would have to earn the spot, in my opinion, to give him some ample time to start a playoff game.
Yeah, it's interesting if you think of the peak version of Buxton that we've seen throughout the last few years. Obviously, that's a better player than Michael A. Taylor, but the version we've seen this year, just as a hitter, I think is better than Michael A. Taylor, but it's not that big of a gap like this year's version of Buxton. And in the outfield, we don't know what he's going to look like.
Right.
We don't know, another year of deterioration. And I'm with you, Judd. This whole like, wow, let's really make sure he feels A+. There is no such thing. There is no such thing. Maybe he feels the best he's felt this season so far since like April, but he's always going to feel something. So I would just kind of chalk it up to this. That contract wasn't signed so that he could be a 29-year-old designated hitter. And I would say, we're not going to run you out there. There's no expectation to run you out there every single day, but the circumstance has changed. Royce Lewis is a starting third baseman. Edward Julian, who wasn't really in our plans a year ago when we signed the contract, is one of our 3 best hitters. But Polanco's our best defensive second baseman. That's where he's most comfortable. And by the way, going into the playoffs, how comfortable would you feel just defensively? I know Polanco made a really bad, he made like a throwing error or something against the Astros a couple years ago, or was it the Yankees?
Yeah.
But generally,
Astros.
Generally, I trust him greatly at second base. And then Correa is one of the best defensive shortstops. So I get a rock-solid starting pitching staff and 2 veteran up-the-middle defenders, and then either Michael A. Taylor or 75% of Byron Buxton in center. You can win playoff games with that up-the-middle defense and run prevention. So, and then opening up, okay, Buxton, you're going to play center field in 2 of the 3 wild card games or something. Or if it's a 5-game, 7-game series where you're going to play every other game, but we want the flexibility to put Julian at DH. Maybe for the rest of the season, like the regular season, Polanco sits out a couple days a week. Maybe he rests a day, DH is a day. Julian can still play second base like twice a week or something. But this makes total sense. The contract wasn't signed for him to be a DH. He's not been a great DH this season. So run him out there, give him some fly balls for a couple weeks and see what happens.
And Julian, so the problem too, and it's Pittsburgh, so it didn't hurt you a bit, but on Sunday, Julian starts at second and it's 2-0. So it's a close game. Like in a playoff game, that's far from safe. And they rightfully so put Kyle Farmer at second late in that game and take Julian's bat out. Now, if you were to do that in a playoff game, it's malpractice. But you do have to put in, so like Polanco just needs to be in the playoffs left at second.
Yeah.
And the thing too is I would argue that I want to get Julian a ton of DH at bats now, because I don't know that he's entirely comfortable there yet, but that's where he's going to have to play. So get him that experience now. Because I feel like this whole thing of it feels like we get a lot of, well, if I'm not playing the field, I'm not as comfortable. I'm thinking about my – well, at some point, dude, you are a professional hitter, right?
You got to find a way. There's been a lot of guys who have found a way. Nelson Cruz,
Yes.
Jim Thome,
Amen. Exactly. And Julian's approach at the plate, I absolutely love. So the thing about it is I would want to play Polanco a lot at second now and Julian at DH, really just to get Julian prepared for you are going to DH. Yep. Like once we get to the playoffs, dude, you ain't playing second base. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yep. So I guess we'll see how that progresses. Has he taken a fly ball in center field all summer?
Yeah, Doogie's mentioned it a few times on the scoops. He has taken some. He has shagged. He has gone out there a few times. Not a lot, but he definitely has.
So he'll go stand out there either during batting practice, or is it intended fly ball practice? I mean, they're kind of similar, but
I want to say I saw reports coming over the weekend when all of the publications wrote about this potential move that he was out there a few days ago.
Okay.
Intended taking fly balls.
Yeah.
For him.
Yeah, super interesting. Now, I mean, if you can just get like 6 weeks of a jolt from him, and he's playing half the games in center, and his bat comes back. I mean, it's what you're potentially adding with him coming back to the lineup. If he's even 80% of the peak version, is a pretty damn good player that can help carry you.
Yep, and can he go full speed too? Like that's my question. Because there have been games, there's been no question, and I don't even have a problem with this. He's hit some ground balls where he used to make them close plays, and now he doesn't. And I think part of it's pain, but part of it's trying to be smart too. Yep. So when the playoffs start, can he flip the switch back to the guy that went full tilt, or does there always have to be this concern about? Because here. To Dex's point, the interesting part of this discussion, as crazy as it might sound, is Michael A. Taylor can sort of be a poor man's Buxton.
Yeah.
So if Buxton's not healthy, he's not Buxton himself. So it gets to be a little bit of a discussion point, because I will say this, Taylor's going to be able to run full speed constantly.
Yeah. Yeah. In the outfield too. It's like, what is his range compared to what it was a year ago?
Exactly.
We don't really know. On the infield hit front, I'm trying to find if Fangraphs has this. So, yeah, they do have infield hit percentage. Let's see if they have individuals. So here you go, infield hits. So he had in 2017, he had 16 infield hits. He has 7 this year, so he'll still hit a ground ball, between a third baseman and a shortstop or up the middle or something and beat it out. But you're right, it doesn't seem like. Early in his career, it was anytime he hit a ground ball to the left side of the infield or up the middle, you're like, oh my God, is he going to beat this out? It's like a routine grounder to shortstop.
Yes.
Is he going to beat it out? So, all right, category number 2 here. Let's talk about the Dallas Keuchel flirtation with perfection yesterday. So, yeah, I think Rocco was relieved that he didn't have to walk that tightrope anymore. All right, great. 6 perfect innings. There's a double. We'll bring in our relievers. And it was an atrocious Pirates lineup, so that's the other asterisk. But he did strike out 3 batters. He had no strikeouts in his first 2 starts, which in today's Major League Baseball is almost impossible. He did generate 6 swinging strikes, which is the most of any of his 3 starts in the majors this season. And his ground ball rate on the season is just under 60%, which is in line with his ground ball rate for his career. So how do you treat Dallas Keuchel after this flirtation with perfection? Joe Ryan's on a rehab assignment right now. He pitched pretty well a couple days ago. There is some talk that maybe the Twins are going to go to a 6-man rotation. But what does this, if Keuchel was kind of going into this, hey, if you get rocked, your career's probably over. I don't think it's unfair to say that that's what was on the line yesterday. How do you treat it now that he did what he did yesterday?
Well, first of all, I think a 6-man rotation at this point is probably smart, right? Because you're going to take some workload off guys like Ober, who I think has flown by most innings he's pitched previously. Yeah. So I think that's fine. I think when you get to the playoffs, he's not on the playoff roster, especially the first round, that being Keuchel. But if they go to a 6-man now for September, I think that's absolutely fine. And look, he could blow up again now, and then it might be done. But that was impressive. Yes, it's against a Pittsburgh team that's about as nondescript as a team can possibly get, which has to be kept in mind. But if I can alleviate some of the fatigue on other arms because Keuchel is pitching competently, that's a win.
Yeah, he takes the burden off everyone else in the rotation, and if he can give you 7 more starts here between now and the end of the season, makes life a lot easier for Pablo and Sonny Gray. You line things up. I mean, the Twins are in position here; they're at the 6-game lead to probably be the first team to clinch their division in MLB. So once you're there, can you figure? I'm not saying you'd then punt on the rest of the games, but it makes your life a lot easier knowing that, hey, you're not fighting for your life. You don't have to burn Sonny or Pablo Lopez as you get towards the end of the season. Then, like, the playoff rotation gets a little wonky. He takes the burden off things, and if he can just give you some 5 to 6 quality innings at some point, you just got to take it, pretty much.
Yeah, I think a 6-man rotation seems just like the right thing to do. Just scale back the workload, whatever, set it up how you want to. But I have a question off this. He has been great at inducing weak contact and ground balls. I don't think he's a guy that I'd want facing the Rangers lineup at some point, or even like the Mariners lineup for 5 or 6 innings. But here's my question. Mm-hmm. If he keeps pitching pretty well, he's getting lefties out especially. Dude, Caleb Thielbar is like the only reliable lefty the Twins have. Is he a guy you would consider as a second bullpen lefty and a guy that could get you multiple innings if needed? Or, hey, we need a ground ball double play right now. I know you've been a starting pitcher in your career, but you are the best worm-killing pitcher we have on our 40-man roster right now. There's runners on first and second. There's one out. We need a ground ball right now. Would you consider Dallas Keuchel on your playoff roster right now?
I personally would not, because you're going to play a team if you were going to play what you considered a team that didn't make a ton of contact, or I should say weak contact, I would. But if I'm going to get Seattle, or like if I got, God forbid, to your point, Texas, no, I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could actually go out there and bring him in and hope, because the reality might be really, really bad.
All right, so right now, this isn't even including Joey Gallo, which I want to also get into because I just don't understand why he's still on your roster at this point. Right now, without Gallo, the Twins have 13 position players. Mm-hmm. So Julian, Solano, Royce Lewis. I'm going to include Alex Kirilloff into this conversation. Max Kepler, Carlos Correa, Ryan Jeffers, Jorge Polanco, Michael A. Taylor. That's a potential just starting lineup right there of 9. And then your bench would include Matt Wallner, Byron Buxton, Kyle Farmer, Christian Vasquez. That's 13 position players. So I don't think they're not going to carry 14 position players. So then you have to just basically do the math, right, of does Dallas Keuchel then fit as one of those other 13 players? You get 26 in the playoffs. I don't know where he'd fit.
I'd have to go back to my reliever list from last time. I mean, I have no problem bumping like a Cole Sands or Balazovic just got bumped back to AAA this weekend. So there's some spots to play with at the bottom of your reliever group. I'd like to revisit this in a week or two. If he makes another start or two and it's like, okay, he's still plugging along.
So he's going to face the Rangers this weekend, right?
I think it lines up that way.
Okay, well, yeah.
That'll be a good audition.
We'll talk about it on Monday. Yeah, yes, it will be.
Okay, let's get to just real quick on the Joe Ryan front, and then we'll get to the strikeouts and the Gallo, and then an Immaculate Grid. So Joe Ryan, a couple days ago for the Saints against Indianapolis, 4 innings on a rehab start. He allowed 1 hit and 1 run. It was a solo home run, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. So, he's on his way back here at some point. So I just want to throw that out there for the audience that he is rehabbing. He is probably going to make another start or 2. I don't know what their exact plan for him is. And then they have a decision to make. Does he replace Keuchel? Does it go 6-man rotation? On the offense front, Declan brought up Gallo. Mm-hmm. So, Judd, you sent me this note via email. The Twins struck out 11, 15, and 16 times in 3 games against the Pirates over the weekend. They did win 2 of 3, but they struck out, 42 times in 3 games? They are still on pace to shatter the Major League strikeout record set by the 2021 Chicago Cubs. They're on pace for like 100 more strikeouts than that Cubs team. So how problematic is the chronic strikeout thing for the Twins once you get into a playoff series?
I think it's very, very big. I think it's huge because they are not putting the ball in play. Like, you're creating no opportunity there. The end result is fielding errors cannot occur. Runners, for the most part, if they're on, can't move. So yes, I think, playoff games are often probably won in the margins, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
they're won with the small things that allow guys to advance, or a play
bloop
here
that drops,
that's not
yeah.
made. Like when to go back to the game that you referenced with Polanco in the playoffs here a few years back, where he makes a bad throw and all hell breaks loose. Well, if the Astros hitter had struck out, guess what? None of that takes place.
Yeah.
So yes, against the Pirates, 42 strikeouts is embarrassing, but it's not going to be a death knell. And you can obviously, as the Twins did, win a series. But in the playoffs, I think it's a massive problem when you have guys that often. And the scary thing is the Twins and double-digit strikeouts are the norm. Like, it feels like it's another 10, and now it's another 15.
They're averaging 10.5 strikeouts per game.
So, yes, I think this is a major – if there are impediments to breaking an 18-game playoff losing streak, I think the proliferation of strikeouts is definitely an impediment.
Yeah, and that's where I just think it's time to also end the Joey Gallo experiment here. Of all the bench guys that are on there, Wallner, Buxton, Farmer, Vasquez, Solano even. I would envision he's in the opening day or starting game one of a playoff game. I don't think Joey Gallo is worth keeping around at this point. He strikes out at just an absurd rate. He's a rally killer at this point. He's striking out all the time. To Judd's point, when you need the big sacrifice fly, there's a runner at third. Joey Gallo can't even do that, man. Like, there's no room for him, in my opinion, anymore on this roster. He's got to go.
The second biggest strikeout problem for the Twins on the current roster is Michael A. Taylor. So he doesn't strike out quite as often as Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo strikes out for the season 43% of plate appearances. Michael A. Taylor, among the current active players, is second at 34%. Buxton's third at 31%. But if you can I'm kind of with Declan here. I don't know that and if you look at Gallo's last 56 games since the beginning of June, 50% strikeout rate, a 157 batting average, and he only has a 379 slugging percent. He's hit 9 home runs over the last 56 games. Is the one home run every 8 to 10 games on average worth all of the whiffs and rally killing and strikeouts? Yeah, I don't see how you can. Now, if you he's a body right now and you're comfortably ahead in the division, it's not urgent that you boot him from the roster right now, but I don't know how you can put him in a playoff game and have 3 or 4 strikeouts instead of 3 or 4 opportunities for a batted ball or something to happen.
He's also another problem I have with him being on this roster with the current administration that the Twins have is he is a temptation to prove a point. So yesterday, the Pirates start an opener who's a southpaw. And by the way, on the pregame radio show, you would have thought the Pirates split the atom. Rocco's talking about, I turned my lineup in, but I'm still thinking about it. Man, I sure hate this because I know that they're going to throw a right-hander afterwards. You would have thought the Pittsburgh Pirates were the smartest team in the history of baseball.
Dude.
But anyway, long story short, Jordan Luplow leads off the game, and he gets one at bat. And then in the third, the Pirates bring in a right-hander, and they're like, okay, it's Joey Gallo time. And he strikes out 3 times. It's a temptation to say, well,
and now you've pulled a hitter from your lineup.
Yes.
Yeah,
and you made a move where it's like, this is the smart move. This is the prudent move. No, it's not.
Dude, they did this with the A's too. It's like,
yes,
they let some mediocre, a bad team with mediocre pitchers. Oh my God, they're bringing an opener in. Let's rip up our lineup card and take Alex Kirilloff out of the game or something. No, don't even react to it. It's the freaking Pirates, for God's sakes.
And look, the Mariners, they got the Mariners, both Kirby and not Cueto. I don't know why I call him Johnny Cueto.
Castillo.
Luis Castillo. Both those guys are righties. So you're going to get one of their two right-handed starting pitchers. But let's say in the fifth or sixth, they pulled Kirby or one of their right-handed starting pitchers. They put in a lefty, and you have to make a spot start because there's a runner at or a spot pinch hitting opportunity because there's a runner at second and third base to get a big run there or to take the ball game over. I'm okay with that type of pinch hitting opportunity, but you shouldn't be doing it just like, oh, well, I guess they burned an opener, and now you've burned a left-handed hitter out of your lineup after just one at bat. That to me is pretty pointless.
Yeah. It's just start. If you think that they're going to bring in a righty or whatever the combination is, just start the guy that's going to face that pitcher 2 or 3 times in the middle of the game.
Right.
You know?
Or just say, Joey, it's been fun.
Yeah.
It's time to go.
So it's trending toward the Twins setting the major league strikeout record.
It's hard to watch at times. I will say that.
All right. Any other thoughts before we get to an immaculate grid here on the State of the Twins Monday?
Do we know when Kirilloff's coming back? If he's coming back, I'm seeing more like nebulous stuff about,
This might be a good scoop topic for tomorrow.
Because it's a pretty important player in my opinion.
He's one of the most important players.
And what is it with this team where guys who are like important cogs, sometimes young, can't stay on the damn field?
Feels like they might need to make a change at trainer. I don't know about you guys.
I mean, and Royce Lewis, how good is that kid at third?
That play he made ranging into foul territory the other day.
It's a
phenomenal.
Just a freaking laser one-hop throw too. Yeah, his arm plays for sure.
Got 2 shortstops.
Yes, you do. Well, you technically have 3 shortstops because Polanco was a shortstop.
And you got Brooks Lee knocking on the door.
Yeah, Brooks Lee is knocking on the door, and Brooks Lee is hitting now. Brooks Lee, it's incredible. Every level he started off with like a slow week, and then he doesn't get good, he takes off.
Yep. So that's another one too. Like if that guy is just mashing in 2 or 3 weeks still, do you try to find room? I don't know where he plays defensively. Obviously the DH thing is in question with Julian Buxton, but is he a guy that you would just want to figure out a spot in your lineup if he's hitting like this going into the postseason?
You might be right, because right now it feels like prospects are being called up right and left too.
Yep.
So like I dismissed that for a while. I think you might be right.
Look at you. You dismissed the Brooks Lee thing. You dismissed the Twins winning a playoff game. You should stick with Declan and I here, okay? I think we have a pretty good idea.
But the Twins win a playoff game if they do what I think they should do. If they don't, screw up.
If they call up Brooks Lee and put him, 7th in the order, does that help them win a playoff game?
The Angels just recalled their first-round pick from this year's draft, or just called up their first-round pick from this year's draft.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's incredible. So I wouldn't rule it out. I'm
telling you.
We'll see.
I'm giving you your props, both of you.
Hey, a shout out to our friends at Nutrisource. Specifically, our dogs would like to shout out Nutrisource. Maya Mackey, Stella Zolgad, Vinny Goff. Nutrisource offers fantastic, healthy dog food for your little furry friends. Maya currently, she does the Nutrisource chicken and rice food. She does the training treats, and she also does the kombucha once in a while for a little mid-afternoon snack. It's great.
And Stella loves those treats. She absolutely loves those. I got a question though. Why is Maya's bowl empty there?
Well, I'm about to pour food in.
Couldn't we show it in action where you're pouring it in and there's the gratification of the moment for this poor dog that has been jumping up and down?
Would you like to do that with Stella?
In slow motion?
Why don't you take a slow motion video for B-roll production on our Score North Twin show?
I'd have to clean my kitchen floor then.
I think Maya's look of anticipation is the better B-roll because it shows you how excited she is to eat. Look at this. What's the better B-roll? This, her big, happy, goofy face, or her head like buried in that bowl?
That tongue.
She eats that food in about 6 seconds, by the way.
It is incredible. Stella's got, I'm sure, Stella's got the same thing. She eats her food so quickly.
Yep. Got to bribe with the treats, especially at bath time. That's what we had to do yesterday. Sorry, Vinny. At least we'll give you some Nutrisource treats. I know you hate the bath, but it'll be okay.
So go to NutrisourcePetFoods.com, NutrisourcePetFoods.com to find a Nutrisource retailer near you. Also, we have added a brand new wing this month to our Score North shop. So scorenorth.com/shop where you can get all your Score North merchandise, Purple Daily merchandise, the Win One Before I Die. We have Flagrant Howls t-shirts. We'll put some Score North Twin Show stuff up there at some point. We also have a collectibles wing. So go to scorenorth.com/shop and click on the collectibles. And thanks to our friends at Universal Sports Auctions, Every single week, they are putting new things in here for you to get your hands on. Promo code SCORE, by the way, to save 10% on all products site-wide. There's a Torrey Hunter custom signed white jersey. There is, in terms of baseball stuff, there's a Sandlot cast signed custom jersey celebrating the 30th anniversary of that awesome movie. We've got, let's see here, a lot of football stuff in here, a lot of Viking stuff. Baseball stuff, Nolan Ryan versus Robin Ventura fist fight, signed and framed. Think about how cool that would be to have in your man cave.
Yeah, that is
Incredible.
great. It'll look great behind me.
And I think the thing that's been the most popular for us is Justin Jefferson one-handed catch, framed and signed. That would look good also behind Judd's head. Judd just wants to use this as an opportunity to ask you, the audience, to buy him things.
Yes.
At scorenorth.com/shop, click on collectibles.
I do. Exactly right.
Go buy him that Slapshot jersey.
I did frame those.
He'll forget your name, but he'll thank you later.
I did frame the Tarkington picture behind me now.
Oh.
I actually went out and bought a frame and framed it. Took a lot of work. I didn't enjoy doing it.
Nice job being an adult. Getting
little Carew back there now. Some of my childhood heroes.
Looks pretty good. Pretty good. Well, maybe we can use some of these childhood heroes on the Immaculate Grid today.
Love it.
All right. Let's pop this up for the YouTube audience. We will put 6 minutes on the clock. People ask, why do you put time on the clock? Just so we don't sit here for 30 minutes trying to guess random players. So this is all teams. There's no stat categories here to match. So we're looking for a Giant who was a Ranger, a Giant who was a Tiger, and a Giant who was a Dodger. We're looking for a Guardian or an Indian who was a Ranger, a Guardian who was a Tiger, a Guardian who was a Dodger, and then a Cardinal who was a Tiger. I'm sorry, a Ranger and a Tiger, and a Cardinal who was
this does get confused.
A Dodger. So for the audio audience, good luck figuring out what I just butchered. For the visual audience, you can follow along here. All right, 3, 2, 1, 6 minutes on the clock.
All right.
We go.
Will Clark qualifies for this one.
Yep, Will Clark.
I was gonna say AJ Przizinski too.
Ooh, that's probably the more obscure one. Let's do that one.
There we go.
1%.
1%.
Nice.
Let's think of twins. There's gotta be some random twins we can.
Giant Dodger. Brett Butler played for both teams, right?
Boy, he definitely played for the Dodgers.
The former Brave. I thought he played for the.
I'll trust your '80s instincts here.
The former Giant as well.
Yeah, fire away.
Brett Butler.
3%.
3%, dude. The rarity score is intact right now.
All right.
Okay.
Let's see. How about a Dodger or a Tiger and a Guardian from the Central? What do we got here?
Oh, you know what's a good one there?
Rajai Davis, right?
Rajai Davis. Did he play for the Tigers?
I think he did, but I'm not sure enough for that. You know
what? Didn't I believe the biggest trade of the '60s, or among them, was Harvey Keene for Rocky Colavito between these two teams. Try Rocky Colavito.
Look at this, dude. Judd's just.
There you go.
Just banging it out.
5%.
Oh, 5%. More than I thought. Okay.
It's pretty good. So for Ranger and Guardian, this might be high, but Corey Kluber, right?
Yeah.
If there's other ones we could. Well, actually, didn't Juan Gonzalez play for the Guardians, the Indians, Judd?
Juan God.
That sounds right. I wouldn't swear to it, but that sounds.
Did Albert Bell play for the Rangers?
I played for Baltimore.
Think so. Yeah.
Okay. I thought he played unless he surfaced with him at the end, which he might have.
You want to go Klubes?
Sure. That's fine. Klubes is fine.
It's probably going to be a 20%.
13.
Oh, that's not bad. That's pretty good. Okay, Ranger, who was a Cardinal. We need a Tiger who was a Giant.
Guardian and Dodger is Tommy. Tommy had a cup of coffee in 09.
Yep, with the Dodgers.
Good
call. Before he came here.
Great call. That's a great call.
That's going to be good.
Did Placido Polanco for Tiger, who was a Cardinal, right?
Oh,
yes.
Sounds.
Yes, Polanco.
Or Placido, however you want to.
Yep.
Plac. P-L-A-C.
There he is.
There you go.
Where was
he? Was right at the top of the list. Go back.
P-L-A-C, and he's the top of the list there.
There you go. He's right at the top.
There we go.
There you go.
Was that 8%?
8. Yep.
This is pretty good, you guys. This is a really good rarity score.
Yep.
We have over 3 minutes left to get three other squares here.
All right, Dodger and Cardinal.
We need a Cardinal who was a Ranger and a Cardinal who was a Dodger. And then we need a Giant who was a Tiger. The Giant who was a Tiger. I feel like there's a lot of those.
Dan Glad.
Yeah, there you go. Dan Glad.
For which one?
Tigers,
Giant who was a
Giants.
Tiger.
Dan Glad.
That'll be below 10% for sure.
He finished his career.
2%.
Nice.
Oh, this is great.
Nice.
AJ
nice,
would have worked
nice.
for this square too.
Cardinal who was.
We should have used that.
We'll find one. We'll find one.
Cardinal who
Who's a
Cardinal
Ranger.
who was a Ranger. Any pitchers? Any?
I'm trying to think of hitters.
Did Bob Tewksbury ever play for the Rangers? I don't think he did. He played here.
Bobby Tewksbury. Did Charlie Huff ever pitch for the Cardinals?
I don't think so.
The biggest one for Cardinals Dodge will be Pujols.
Did Brian Jordan play for the Rangers at one point?
Ooh. He might have. I don't remember that.
Kyle Loesch.
What about
didn't
Gabe
go.
Kapler? Did he play for the Cardinals? Kyle Loesch.
Kyle Loesch played. I don't know if he played for Texas. He played for St. Louis.
Yeah, I don't
I think he did. Did he play for Texas?
He
Did
played
he?
for. I know. I don't know if he played for Texas.
Oh, okay, yeah, I don't know that.
He played for the
Hold
Reds.
on.
He played for the Brewers. He played for the Cardinals. He played for the Twins.
Texas.
Oh, man, that might be a great poll though. If we're right.
Brian Jordan or Kyle Loesch? Or both?
Well, yeah, either I guess. Oh,
There's
man.
probably, I'm trying to think like into the 2000s too, like the Mark McGwire era.
Yeah, like
You
power
had-
hitters, like
Just juiced.
juiced steroid. Did Hank Blaylock? Did he go to the? I didn't go to the Cardinals.
And Teixeira never played for the Cardinals, right?
Yeah, Glaus didn't play for the Rangers.
Oh, or did he? It's a good one.
Played in
Nelson
Toronto.
Cruz never played for the
Cardinals. He just helped him win a
These
World
two
Series.
teams played in the World Series. It was a
Yeah, we won, I
crossover.
guess.
That's why I'm like getting so many cross
Yeah.
signals because they played each other in the World Series, like Nelson Cruz,
Oh,
David
man.
Freese,
Is that a pitcher?
Isringhausen. Did Isringhausen play for the Rangers?
Ooh, he played for a lot of teams. That's
I
a
don't,
good.
I don't know if this is
We got a
Edwin
minute
Jackson. I don't know if this is Edwin Jackson.
We also
Okay,
need a Dodger who was.
Okay, you guys continue to talk about that. I'm putting LA, St. Louis.
Greg
Yeah,
Gagne
Brian
didn't
Jordan
play.
was a Dodger, right?
Was he? I can envision him in a blue uniform.
Right? Did Ray Lankford play for either of those teams?
Pujols is our safe one. We have Pujols. It's
Oh,
gonna be
let's do
high.
that. Let's do that right now.
Yep, just
Let's
take
do
it
that.
then.
Yep.
41.
Damn.
Yeah.
We can still get under 100 here, I think.
Okay.
All right, we have 10 seconds if we want to honor the clock here. Or we can buy 30 seconds of extra time if our audience will allow it.
Brian Jordan might. Oh my God! Who's a Ranger? There's got to be a Ranger. There's got to be Rangers. That
Well, if we can't think of another one, we have three names that we've been hemming and hawing about: Kyle Loesch, Brian Jordan, and Jason Isringhausen. Did John Wetland pitch for the Cardinals?
I feel good about Loesch.
No.
I think I feel good about Kyle Loesch.
Second base.
I don't hate that guess, dude.
Okay, try it. Try it.
We'll look up Brian Jordan too, just for fun. But
I've got nothing
Kyle
else.
Loesch, one time.
Come on, baby. Come on,
One time.
baby. Come on, let's go!
Let's go!
Nice, Jacqueline.
Let's go! A 78 rarity score, which for us is pretty good.
Good job, dude.
Pretty good.
Nice
who are the-
work.
Oh, Edwin Jackson was definitely on here as a Tiger who was a Cardinal.
High though, 19.
That's hilarious. Hunter Pence
Yep.
as a
Victor
Giant who was a Ranger.
Edgar Renteria. That'd be a good one.
Renteria, okay.
I'm like four.
Jock Peterson. I'm just curious on Brian Jordan now since we. By the way, that Immaculate Grid was presented by our friends over at EcoFun. Okay.
Yes.
If you're looking to ride around
Yes.
in style, they've got all sorts of souped up golf carts, scooters from 49cc up to 300cc. They've got ATVs. They've got electric bikes. So many fun toys for you to get into before summer runs out. 2 stores to shop in the Metro: Forest Lake off 35 North End, and then Burnsville off 35W and County Road 42. More at ecofunmotorsports.com. That's ecofunmotorsports.com.
So Brian Jordan played for the Dodgers in 2002 and 3, and the Rangers in 2004. So we were both right.
Wow, dude. Look at that.
Shouldn't question
He
ourselves
was
anymore.
Awful
We're that
with the
good.
Rangers.
Dodgers and Rangers. That
could've
would
had
have
him.
been
No,
wouldn't
he
work.
played for the Cardinals.
Oh, Cardinals.
The Cardinals were his
Cardinals.
main team.
I didn't hear Cardinals.
So he played for the
Cardinals was
Cardinals, played for the Dodgers. That was good.
Goals though. I mean, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 under 5%.
Dude, this is a good. Hey,
That's
no
a pretty
regrets
good
on
grid.
this one.
No.
Yeah.
This is great.
And by the way, I love it being all teams.
I
I
hate it.
don't. I hate it.
I
Yeah,
love
I
it,
hate it.
Immaculate Grid people. I love you right now. I love what you're doing. You're looking great.
Hey, give us, if you could, a 5-star rating and a positive review of the Score North Twin Show on Apple Podcasts. You can help us continue to climb charts and spread the word that, yes, we brought this show back about a month ago after a 2-month dormant stretch, and we are ready for the postseason stretch run here. With or without Judd's optimism, we are ready. Let's get it.
Just do what I want. Do what I say, and it'll be fine.
All right, we'll see you guys next time on the Score North Twin Show.